rotate that one to the right. Get the T-spin. Take the line off hold, and boom! Tetris. Oh, hey guys, did not realize you were coming today. Guess you want me to talk about something, but I don't really have a video prepared. Okay, 1 second, and boom, baby, Tetris. I'm the master of this game. Oh, that's what I can do. I can talk about Tetris. But which version? I mean, there's just so many. Oh, that's what I can do. I can talk about all the different versions of Tetris. I can go through all the influential ones, I can go through which ones are my favorites, and I can talk about Tetris on the... Got a game over. Thanks a lot, guys. Tetris. It's a game that everyone and their aunt just adores. It was originally made by a programmer called Alexei Pajitnov in 1986. At the time, Pajitnov was actually living in the USSR and... Okay, look, there's a whole complicated history on how Tetris crossed the Iron Curtain and became a worldwide hit. But if I explain all that, then I won't have any time to talk about the actual game, so we're just gonna move on. So, what is Tetris? Well, to put simply, Tetris is a puzzle game where pieces fall from the top of the screen and you need to arrange them into rows. Whenever you complete a full row all the way across, it will clear that line. The more lines you clear, the more points you score, and clearing multiple lines at once will give you a point bonus. However, if you run out of room on the screen and any of your pieces reach the top of it, then it's game over. The first version of Tetris was made for the Electronica 60, which was a Russian-exclusive computer. But rest assured, this version wouldn't be the last. Since its conception, there have been over 100 different variations on the classic game. So today, we're going to take a look back and talk about some of the cool, weird, or influential versions of Tetris. The first Tetris variation that most people will remember is Tetris for the Game Boy. This is probably one of the simplest versions of Tetris out there. There's no hold slot, no fancy graphics, it's just simple, plain Tetris. Now this version was included with the Game Boy as a pack-in title, and despite its simplicity, people around the world became immediately hooked to it. The core mechanics of Tetris were so engaging that they didn't require any extra fluff. It's just so fun to strategize where all your different pieces should go, and how to clear as many lines at once as possible. Also, having to do all of this under time pressure as the pieces fall faster and faster as the game goes on, well, that just brings a welcome element of tension into the game. Oh, and it also might have helped that you're doing all of this while listening to one of the most iconic tracks in gaming history. Just a few months after the Game Boy version of Tetris released, the NES version came out. Surprisingly, this wasn't just a straight-up port of the Famicom version, as this version included brand new graphics and a game mode B as seen in the Game Boy version. However, the most noticeable thing about the NES version of Tetris is that it's still being played today, and at a competitive level no less. Events like the Classic Tetris Monthly and the Classic Tetris World Championships see hundreds of people compete, playing this game month after month, year after year. Now, the reason for this version being the standard is partly due to nostalgia, but it's also due to the hidden complexities of the game. Because of the fast-moving pieces and the game's low frame rate, it's incredibly hard to put pieces exactly where you want them to be. Players have to devise entire new strategies just for moving pieces left and right to take advantage of every frame to get a one-frame advantage to their opponent. That's how intense this is. And if you haven't checked out competitive classic Tetris yet, then I would definitely recommend it, as some of the matches are just amazing to watch. Okay, we're gonna skip ahead a little bit now to Tetris 64. This version of the game was compatible with a heart rate sensor that would actually read your pulse and change the game based off of your heartbeat. Now, this game was never released outside of Japan, but we did get an N64 version of Tetris over here in the States as the new Tetris, and it changed up the standard Tetris formula quite a bit. Some of these changes actually stuck and are still being used in modern Tetris games to this day. The most prominent of these changes being the hold button. Do you have a piece on screen that you don't like? Well, with just a slap of that button, you can swap it for your held piece. This does make the game a little easier, but it also adds an extra layer of strategy when deciding which piece you want to swap, and when to swap them. Now, let's talk about Tetris Dx. This game looks amazing. It took tons of old classic sprites from the NES era and used them to create some amazing visuals. Take all that, then add the remixes of some of the best songs from the NES era, and altogether, this version is probably the version of Tetris with the highest quality presentation. But it wasn't just graphics they added. A variety of new modes, including Mission Mode, were introduced, giving more variety to gameplay. And because of this, many people still, to this day, claim that this version is the definitive way to play Tetris. Okay, so Tetris for the Nintendo DS was pretty good. But now, let's see what was on the DS's competitor, the PSP. Now, this version didn't change a whole lot, but I still want to talk about it, because it was my first version of Tetris that I really put a lot of time into, and I absolutely love it. The presentation here is so nice. I love the sort of neon futuristic look it has, and it just makes all the colors really pop. There's also a variety of new modes, such as laser, chill, magnetic, flood, and so much more. But one of the simplest changes proved to be one of the most effective. With the implementation of an achievement system, players now had a goal to work towards. I still remember playing this day after day, trying to knock off as many achievements as I could get done. This is the first game I really ever 100% completed, and I am so proud of that fact. A few years later, Puyo Puyo Tetris released. This is a combination of Tetris with the game Puyo Puyo. Now, when I say that, you might respond, "What's the big deal? We've seen dual packs like this before where Tetris and some other game have both been included." But my friend, that's where you would be wrong. Because I didn't say this was a dual pack of Tetris and Puyo Puyo. I said this was Puyo Puyo Tetris. This is a completely new game, where in addition to their normal game modes, there's game modes that combine both the gameplay of Tetris and Puyo Puyo. There's Switch, where players shift between Puyo Puyo and Tetris, and Fusion, where players use both Tetris pieces and Poiminos, I think they're called. And yeah, I don't know how to play this one either, but it's cool to look at. Also, for the first time in the Tetris series history, there's actually a complete story mode for you to play through, and it's actually pretty decent. Look, I'm running out of time to talk about this one, but just know that it is a quality title, and it's so good. Okay, so we have time to talk about one last game, and honestly, I think I've saved one of the best versions of Tetris for last. Tetris 99. This released for the Switch in 2019 and is one of the most interesting and creative things I've ever seen done with the series. You play against 99 other players, and as you clear lines, you send garbage to their side. You can target people specifically or based off criteria for where you want to send your garbage. The more people you knock out, the more badges you'll get, and the more garbage you'll send for each line you clear. This is just incredibly creative. Having a battle royale as Tetris, I never would have imagined it, but it works so well. It's just so fun to play over and over again, so you're still gradually getting better, going higher in the ranks. It's a blast to play. It's free for Switch if you have online, and if you haven't played it yet, then just play it. So, I know I missed out on a few, or a lot, since there's over 100 of them, but those are all the major Tetris variations released. Now, of course, there are games like Tetris 2 or Tetris Attack, but those games aren't really Tetris. They have completely different gameplay, they don't follow the Tetris formula at all. Really, they just use the Tetris name to sell more copies, so I didn't talk about them. But overall, it's just amazing to think how far this small PC game has come. When Alexei Pajitnov first developed Tetris, he wasn't looking to sell 1 million copies or set the world on fire. He just wanted to make people happy using computers. Yet this small game that was developed by only one man went on to set a fire that would spread across the entire world, making millions upon millions of people happy, and making himself and others millions upon millions of dollars. Of course, this is a unique situation. I mean, it's not like there are any other games that were made by only one person that went on to sell millions upon millions of copies. I mean, the very idea is kind of ridiculous. I mean, can you imagine if there was another... Where's that music coming from? Oh yeah, I've been waiting for this one.